What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking an early look at Shadowblade Reload by Dead Mage. It's a title currently in early access on Steam. So this game was pitched to me as being a mobile port, and I'll be honest, I very, very nearly dismissed it out of hand right there and then. The problem is, those two words are rather synonymous with mediocrity. The mobile market is rather saturated at the moment, and quite a considerable amount of that content is pretty poor, and a lot of it ends up on PC. And it's not necessarily improved by the experience, because those titles are aimed at short bursts of quick gameplay in a more casual setting, and they don't the elements just don't translate well to a PC setting. So I do tend to be a bit dismissive of things that are mobile ports. However, I'm glad I did not dismiss this title out of hand entirely, because it has kind of grabbed me. It's kind of a cool title. This is a action platformer, ostensibly about ninjas, as you can tell by our chap with the katana perched on the rooftop there. So let us have a look at the settings. We have resolution options and windowed mode. We can change the detail on the shadows and screen space ambient occlusion. We have checkboxes for anti-aliasing and bloom. However, the anti-aliasing I'm not sure particularly tends to do much. The game doesn't look great when you first get it, and anti-aliasing doesn't seem to do much for it. It's jagged edges everywhere, it looks pretty rough. Fortunately, I did find a fix for this, which is to go into the NVIDIA control panel and force anti-aliasing on there. So I managed to force it to run 32 times CSAA, and that worked. That has actually improved things dramatically. It's absolutely night and day. It looks so much better with AA actually running on that I would very much recommend that if you're interested in this game or have this game, that you do that, because it really makes it look so much better. It really, really does. I imagine AMD Catalyst would do something very similar, but I haven't been able to find any evidence in that regard, and obviously I'm not running an AMD graphics card, so very hard to say. So, yeah, I would advise caution and do a bit of research in that regard. I looked on PC Gaming Wiki, I looked on the Steam forums. I apparently couldn't find anybody else, even with an Nvidia card, that's particularly cared about this issue. Nobody has taken the time to actually look into this. I'm apparently the only one who cares. But there you go. At any rate, I guess I'm a bit picky, and that's why I am a PC gamer. Because I am picky. So, I would advise going into your NVIDIA control panel or AMD Catalyst and tinkering with this game before you run it, because it will look much better for it, I can absolutely guarantee you. So, sound, we can change music and sound effects on separate sliders. Controls are rebindable, nice to see. I am using the Xbox controller, mind you, because it's the kind of game that seems to work more naturally that way. So, let us hop on in. We have got, at present, in this early access version, we have 4 regions. We've got Dojo, Jade City, Downtown, New Kaio, and beyond that it just says under development. We also have 3 difficulties for each area, and you'll be judged on a number of things. Obviously, there's 15 sections in each one, so there's 60 levels currently in the game, with obviously future ones to be added. I did read somewhere, whether that's verifiable or not, it might just mean someone speculating that there'll be 150 levels, but don't quote me on that one, to be quite honest. So, potentially like 10 regions by the time the game's actually out. At present, only the 4, but it's a good chunk of content. Obviously, you then got the replayability from doing it for better grades, by trying to get to it in a faster time, or with more orbs or kanjis, which are your collectibles within the levels. And then you've also got the harder difficulties as well, so you can try and do it that way. I'm going to stick to normal. Let's go into the dojo and do an early level and show you what it's all about. So we are a ninja, obviously. We can jump, we can double jump, we can run around, and we can hit things with our sword. We also have these shurikens, which you can throw, which don't seem to do a whole lot of damage, and I think they recharge over time. Yeah, you see there's a little sort of clock wipe kind of thing goes around. So I can throw these at guys, and it takes like 3 of them to kill a guy, so you gotta wait for them to recharge to be able to do much with them. I can tell you, it's a lot more effective to take most guys out with a sword, to be quite honest, and I haven't been using the shurikens to any great extent. But there's a lot of cool animations and takedowns you can do with the sword, and it just feels a lot more visceral to do it with the sword, so I just found it a lot more satisfying to use the sword for combat. So I can do things like that, just leap into the air. There's nothing really special about that, that's just run towards the guy and press X. You kind of leap into the air and take him down with a sword. And it's kind of scripted, but at the same time, it's also really satisfying to do. It's really fun to just be able to just leap into the air and just murder a guy. And they say these games don't make us aggressive, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in the combat, even if half the combat I'm just not using. I suppose I can do that. That was a one-shot kill, that was surprising. I guess your gun guys are maybe a bit more flimsy than the other guys. There are a bunch of guys with guns and they will track you and try and shoot you. There's sort of a basic kind of physics thing kind of going on with the glass. Things, if objects hit the glass will shatter, but it doesn't seem to take much to do that. So you've kind of got a dash that you will use to try and get through it, but if people hit it or bits of other glass hit it, excuse me, or if anything hits the glass, it does seem to shatter it. Let's try another level. It's a lot of running around, jumping, avoiding traps. The developers, I believe, did compare it to Super Meat Boy, and I'm certainly getting that. You've kind of got lots of traps everywhere, going to kill you instantaneously, and takedown, nice. And lots of deadly traps and lots of running around, platforming and wall climbing and things. So I can definitely see the analogy. Personally, I do think it's got more in common with something like N+, which is perhaps not entirely all that different anyway, but just aside from the ninja theme anyway, and obviously I know there weren't any particular combat in, well, either of those games, but I don't know, I feel like this feels more like N+ to me. I can't remember if Super Meat Boy had any kind of ability to double jump off the same wall. I mean, you kind of saw that bit there. If I find a good wall, I'll be able to show it. But you can kind of leap off a wall, double jump in the air, and then land back on the same wall and climb up any given vertical surface like that, assuming you're allowed to do it. There's obviously a few surfaces in this which the game says, no, you're not allowed to climb, like the spiky surface here. You cannot climb a spiky surface for whatever reason. But there you go. The arbitrary rules of the game, as it were. But it's probably a good place to demonstrate it. I can, like, leap into the air and leap back onto... If I don't jump into the spikes anyway, I can leap in the air and land back on the same wall, which is kind of cool. Which allows for a lot more interesting possibilities. You can get to a lot of places in this game. There's a lot of hidden things, secret passageways, and just bits hidden all over the place that you can only get with some slightly creative use of your physics and platforming abilities. Let's just drop down here, because I saw a spring at the bottom. The dude there we want to take down. See, that's cool. That was cool. Come on. You cannot deny that. That was really satisfying to do. I can do that and then take the other guy out because he's got his back to me. The combat's really fun to do. Now, I believe there's some hidden things up there which are going to require me to double jump back that way and then take this route up here. And I can smash my way down through that. Leap, stab him in the back. Oh, that was nasty. That was really satisfying to do. And then we head into the exit. Is it just me or is that Starbucks? That's like the Starbucks logo, right? I mean, it's not green, but I'm pretty sure that's the Starbucks logo. So the level ends at Starbucks. When the ninja needs a coffee, that's the end of the level. So there you go. And then we get graded at the end of it with a rank. So we can slide down this wall. There's some spiky traps. There's a lot of sort of physics, puzzle, platforming kind of thing going on, and then mixing with some healthy combat as well. So you've got a good mix of things there. You've got the elements of the games like N+ or Meat Boy, and then you've got all the combat as well, just to mix things up. And it's really satisfying to kill guys like that. You've also got this one where if I jump into the air I can do that, you can just drop out the sky and take people down. That's a really effective one actually. If you've got a guy on his own and he hasn't seen you, you can just drop on anyone and just murderate them. Even some of the tougher enemies that have like more health, you can just drop on them and just one-shot kill them. If there is anybody next to them though, you will die. Whilst you're busy doing your takedown, the other guy will just sort of punch you and you're dead. You don't have any kind of health meter. Some of the guys will shove you around and not kill you, but if you actually take a hit, that's it. It's dead. So there's some cool mechanics like, I'll tell you what, let's go into... let's go back to level select. Let's try something with Jade City. Where are we up to? Let's try that. Let's do that one. That's kind of, I think that's like the last level I did particularly. So some of the guys will kind of push you around a bit, and that's kind of cool because they can push you off the edge of a ledge. If you're trying to climb up onto a ledge and there's a guy stood just waiting for you at the top of the ledge, they will just shove you back. You cannot climb up while there's a guy there waiting for you. Because he'll just push you, he'll just straight up push you back. This is one of the things that makes me think N+, by the way. The rocket launchers. This kind of guy. Because then I can kite, sort of. No, not really. You nearly managed it, but you saw what I was trying to do. You can kite the rockets back into the guy, and the guy will then take the hit and die. He'll die from his own rocket, which was a thing you could do in N+. You could kite rockets around for ages, and you could do lots of fun things with the rockets. And you can do the exact same thing here. Now this is nasty, by the way. This one, they don't give you much scope for maneuver in this. I might die here, I might... Oh! That took me a lot of attempts to do first time, to be honest. I'm surprised I managed to do that, because that's... They don't give you much time on that one. Some of the traps are really, really, really nasty. But, there you go. That's next level. So this one is kind of a weird one. I'm not sure why this is here. I mean, in the first one, the dojo, there was kind of it ended, level 15 out of 15 was a combat level. They give you 3 waves of a bunch of enemies, and you have to kill them all without dying. You do get a checkpoint at the end of each wave, but you need to do each wave without dying at any rate. So, we take him down there. And then wave 2. And, yeah, there's not much... There's obviously more traps here than... Certainly there were in level 1, but at the same time, it's still mostly combat focused. Still mostly just can you stab a bunch of blokes that are going to spawn in order. So, let's... Oh, that was close. I nearly got rocketed there. I think some of the rocket guys... it may be a little bit easier to take down with the shurikens. I should probably try to do that. I cannot climb up that wall, but I can take him out. Never mind. I could just do that and win. That would work. There you go. That was a surprisingly good execution. I will note there is a bug there. On these levels which don't have any orbs or kanjis to collect, it does seem to mess with the completion stat at the end there. It says like minus 2 billion%. Because presumably it's marked as being like 0 out of 0 collected, and it's trying to divide by 0, and it goes, what do? And throws up minus 2 billion%. So I think none of the combat missions like this, I haven't got any rank that isn't S on it, which I don't know if that's tied to being able to get minus 2 billion% completion, but it seems like it could be, at any rate. So, let's move on. Now this is kind of weird, because if we go back to level select for a moment, I'm not sure about this Jade City, but Jade City, level 11 was the combat one we just did. Then level 12 here, it's still Jade City, but it doesn't look like Jade City. You kind of got this alpine mountain in the background, and it's snowy, and it's just not the same aesthetic as the last Jade City level. And I don't know. It feels like it's a new level, honestly, but it kind of clearly isn't. Let's take him out. Oh, he shot me. God damn it. So, I shouldn't be doing that with rockets. Yeah, it's getting a little bit trickier as we go along. Now we're kind of getting towards the end of level 2. Suddenly there's a lot more challenges, so you kind of got... Yeah. Am I dead? I'm dead, because I got shot while I was taking guys down. So maybe those guys might be better to take down... Yikes. Those guys might be better to take down with shurikens. That could be a thing. I should probably try that. Again, it's just kind of because it's a method I haven't been using particularly. Yeah, I can do that. Those guys are way easy to take out with shurikens, and I should be doing that. So you do have options with combat. However, that's by far the easiest. Now this guy, he can take a few hits, but he's still... Well, if I could land that one correctly... Oh, and not get toasted. Let's try it all again, come on. Die. If I do the drop on that big guy that takes a bunch of hits, it still kills him in one hit. It's just... You're dead, you're dead. Okay, let's just do that. See, one-shot kill. Every dang time. Makes no odds. That is the most effective way to take anyone out. And as long as there isn't another guy stood by them, it will work every time. And it's really fun to do, so why would you not do it? But again, we've got new mechanics in there, which lends credence to my theory that this feels like another level. I don't know why. You kind of got new mechanics in there, you got new scenery in there, and yet it's still apparently past the second level. Which is just kind of odd, honestly. I will say I do like the way the orbs work with kind of the game music. It ties in very nicely. You kind of got that sort of Japanese music feel thing, so you know you kind of got those sort of traditional Japanese notes that it's kind of a bit stereotypical, but it ties in quite nicely. So when you pick them up, it kind of goes ding ding ding. It's more like it's a traditional Japanese sound, isn't it? It works rather effectively. And this guy's got a lot of health, so I'm going to do that to him again. So that is the way you deal with him. Give me one more orb, and we shall head out. So I think you're getting a feel for the game there. I think that's kind of the gist of it. There's a bunch of collectibles, there's a bunch of guys to take down in really cool, satisfying manners. And there's a lot of rather nice platforming. It all does work rather well, so let's head on out. It does work rather smoothly, like something like N+ or Meat Boy always had really smooth, well-polished platforming action. So does this. There's never any bits where I'm like, oh my god, that was absolute bullshit, I can't believe that happened. It's like, no, if it goes wrong, it's pretty much your fault, and what you tell it to do is what it does. It works. It's smooth, fluid platforming action. It works well. We also do have a level editor if you wanted to create your own things. So, if I wanted to create a level, I can pick a size, pick a theme. Dojo, City, and Mountain are presumably the only three. I guess the Mountain was the theme of that last one that the last level I just did. So at the moment there's 3 in the level editor. And yeah, we can make a level. I can believe if I'm not actually sure entirely how to use this. I think no, that's a select. There is some way to. I think it's like control click. Yeah, you can fill in blocks, so I can make a bit of a level if I wanted to. I don't know. Let's just make a thing. I won't mess around with it too much because honestly, I don't think this works very well yet. I did play around with this briefly, and it just it actually created a game. I found a game-breaking bug somewhere. I think when I tried to press play, the game just froze and hung, and I had to force quit. So I'm not sure this editor particularly works well at this moment in time. You can then go through and place spike traps or decoration, collectibles, platforming. So you can build any level you like within this, and presumably then upload it to Steam Workshop. But as I say, it's kind of a bit rough at the minute. It's still an early access game, so bugs are presumably to be expected, but certainly with this, there is absolutely at the moment a game-breaking one in there that totally forced me. It made me force quit the game. So, not nice to see those. Hopefully that sort of thing would be ironed out before launch, otherwise that would be a poor state of affairs. I will note also the game itself has crashed on me a couple of times, although this has only ever been while recording, so maybe the game just doesn't like Bandicam. That could just be a thing. It might not necessarily be the fault of the game during normal gameplay. So, but just a couple of caveats there, just something to think about. But on the whole, I'm rather liking this title. It's got a great look, it's got a good style going, it's quite colourful, and the gameplay's fast-paced, fun, smooth, and the combat's very, very visceral. Those takedowns are really, really satisfying to do. And I do think it's worth a look. This is currently out, obviously, on Early Access on Steam. It's available on Windows and Mac, and it's available for £6.99 or your regional equivalent. And even if you're not wanting to pick up an Early Access title, and I don't blame you, I do think it's definitely one that's worth keeping an eye on, because it's kind of cool. Anyway, I have been Meroka. This has been Shadowblade Reload, and I shall see you next time.